Hi there, I'm Dr. Alessandra Latour, founder of the Latour Leadership Academy. For more than 16 years, I've helped leaders at every level move from overwhelmed and reactive to clear, confident, and strategic in how they lead. This podcast is where we get real about leadership. We'll talk about the patterns, habits, and pressures that shape how we show up, and more importantly, how to grow through them. Here, you'll learn practical tools for leading authentically, building trust on your team, communicating effectively, and making decisions that reflect your values, not someone else's expectations. Leadership is a skill, one you can learn, strengthen, and embody with intention. So, if you're ready to lead with more clarity, confidence, and presence, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome back to the podcast. Let's talk about burnout. Not the buzzword, not the meme, not the coffee mug that says running on caffeine and chaos. I mean the real thing. The version that creeps in slowly, disguised as responsibility or dedication or ambition. The version that shows up when you keep saying, I'll just push through this week. And then it becomes a month. And then somehow it becomes your entire identity. Burnout doesn't usually show up with a dramatic collapse. It arrives quietly. It looks like waking up tired even after a full night's sleep, feeling numb in situations you used to feel deeply about, snapping at people you care about, and then feeling guilty. The Sunday dread that starts on Saturday morning, working harder and being less satisfied. Burnout is not about effort, it's about exhaustion without replenishment. And leaders are especially vulnerable because we're often the ones others lean on. Leadership requires emotional labor. You're holding the goals, the strategy, the accountability, the team's psychological safety, the vision of the organization, and sometimes your own fear of failing. It's a lot. And because leaders are usually high achievers, we internalize a very dangerous belief. That belief is my value is tied to how much I can carry. So we keep carrying and carrying and carrying until the weight becomes the way. And when that happens, burnout stops being an event and becomes a state of being. People love to give this advice. Just set boundaries. Great, wonderful, thank you. What does that actually mean? Because for many leaders, boundaries feel like letting someone down, dropping a ball, not being a team player, falling short of expectations, losing influence or credibility. We need something more real, more human, more practical. So let's talk about what boundaries actually are. A boundary is a clear, communicated expectation about what you're available for and what you're not that protects your capacity, your energy, and your integrity. Boundaries are not walls, they're guardrails. They keep us from driving off the cliff. Here are a few guiding questions to identify the boundaries you need. Ones leaders don't usually ask themselves. Where do I feel resentment? Resentment is a signal that a boundary is missing. Where am I consistently overextending? Look at your calendar, your email, your evenings. Where does my energy drain the fastest? This is a capacity indicator, not a character flaw. Your boundaries are hiding inside your frustration, your fatigue, and your, I can't keep doing it like this. Let's take this out of theory and into real leadership behavior. A boundary might sound like, I can meet, but let's schedule it for tomorrow to give it the attention it deserves. Or, I'm available for feedback on the project between 1 and 3 p.m. today. Or, I don't respond to messages after 6. If something's urgent, please call. Or saying no to the meeting you aren't required for, delegating the task you're not the best position to complete, ending your workday when you said you would. Boundaries don't have to be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes the quiet ones change everything. So how do we implement boundaries without feeling like the villain? When you communicate a boundary, use 3 parts. Clarity, be specific and direct. Context, briefly explaining the why if it's helpful. And confidence, your tone matters more than the words. For example, hey, I want to make sure I give this project my full attention. I'll review it first thing tomorrow morning. Does that work? That is clear, reasonable, professional, and human. You're not asking for permission. You're communicating capacity. The most overlooked step here is assessing whether the boundary is working. And this is where most people stop. They set a boundary once and assume it's settled. But boundaries are living. They require maintenance. Here are 2 reflection questions to revisit weekly. Did this boundary reduce my stress or resentment? If yes, keep it. Did this boundary create confusion, friction, or unintended consequences? If yes, refine it. Adjust your language, timing, or clarity. Boundaries are not about control, they're about sustainability. Remember, burnout is not a sign you're weak. It's a sign that you've been strong for too long without rest. And boundaries are not a threat to your ambition. They are the thing that protects your ability to keep leading well. You don't have to earn your worth through exhaustion. Your value is not measured in depletion. Leadership is not about how much you can sacrifice. It's about how wisely you steward your energy, your presence, and your impact. And you deserve to lead from a place that's whole, not hollowed out. If you listen to this and were thinking, this is exactly what I've been struggling with, I want to invite you to join our free weekly leadership newsletter. Every week, I share practical tools, mindset shifts, and real world examples about how you can use these tips right away, especially if you're working on becoming a more confident and authentic leader. Thanks for joining me today. If this episode resonated, I'd love for you to continue the conversation with me. Head on over to latourleadershipacademy.com. You'll find leadership tools, programs, and free resources designed to support your growth at every stage of your leadership journey. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our weekly leadership newsletter. It's where I share fresh insights, reflection prompts, and strategies you won't hear anywhere else. Thanks for spending your time here. Keep leading with intention, and I'll see you in the next episode.